Hello everyone, good evening to all of you. This is One Who Gets Bread, and as part of Labor Day, which is the holiday here in the US, I wanted to give a happy Labor Day greeting to all of you here in America. And with that being said, we have something really special for tonight. In front of me, we have a bunch of cards from the Lost Origin TCG set, and we got this set early thanks to PokeNerds. We are able to go there into the store, and they actually had a sale going on for their booster packs. They're pricing their booster packs at 3 packs for $10. So it really is a steal if you go and use this offer that they're doing right now for that 3 packs for $10. So you could really save some money by doing that. Well, anyways, I got 12 packs today, and if anyone wants to see those openings, they'll be live on my YouTube in the coming days. I'll start posting them over there. It'll be a whole series in 12 parts of not Astral Radiance, Lost Origin openings of the Pokemon TCG. Alright, let's get started. We'll get started in a little bit here. I have the stack of cards. Let me just put these away for now. We'll talk about those later. Here's all the rest of the cards that I pulled today, and as you can see, there's some shiny cardboard. We're just going to go through these and talk about some of the interesting ones. We could get started here in a little bit, but before I do, I want to give anyone a chance, if there's anyone who's going to be watching, to get here before I start going through everything. So, in order to kill some time, I'll be once again discussing some of the cards from the pre-release. Alright, so in this stack here are the cards from the pre-release 2 long weeks ago. So, at the pre-release, not many cards were pulled. The largest ones that were pulled will be these ones. These were my only pulls from the pre-release that were noteworthy. We have an Amorous V and a cast form, Trainer Gallery, featuring Charon from Pokemon Black and White. Now, what's interesting about this Enamorous is we'll actually see it again in the cards that I pulled today. So once we start going through them, we'll see if we could get another Enamorous. So as you can see, this has the ability Guardian of Love, so any of your Pokemon that have any psychic energy attached, you can prevent all effects of your opponent's abilities done to each of your Pokemon. So that might be interesting to have in a battle. Just keep this on bench. Then you also have Blossom Tail, attach up to 2 basic energy from your discard to your benched Pokemon in any way you like. So I actually see this Pokemon being played in some single prizers, but of course, since you add this into that single prizer, which I'm thinking about, it rhymes with Lunatone Solrock. Well, it won't become a single prizer anymore once you add this into it, but I could see this working in that deck, so we'll have to see if we get another one. Next card we have here is the Cast Form, Trainer Gallery, 11 out of 30, and it's featuring Charon from the Yenova games, basically Black, White, Black 2, and White 2. Those games really bring back memories, because the first games I think I bought that were DS, but they were like new condition, not a used one, not a used copy or anything like that, but my first brand new Pokemon games that were of the DS variety. They were Pokemon Black 2 and White 2, and they're actually from the Philippines. When one of my relatives visited our family over there in the Philippines, and she brought back Pokemon Black 2 and White 2, and the funny thing is, I didn't know it at the time, but I actually played those games earlier than most people here in the US, because back in the DS era of Pokemon games, they actually staggered the release between the different regions. So it was pretty interesting story I have with Pokemon Black 2 and White 2. Really good games. I do sure miss them. But anywho, here's cast form in, it looks like a classroom where Charon is teaching it about the weather. Maybe it's going to become a meteorologist, maybe on MSNBC or, CNN, any of those. But yeah, there's a cast form learning about the weather. Alrighty, let's go through some of our pre-release cards of to note that I've talked about in previous videos, but it's always good to talk about them and give a refresher on. Alright, so this was again the pre-release promo of Finneon. Has this oceanic accompaniment. As often as you'd like during your turn, you may attach a water energy from your hand to one of your Pokemon that has the Swim Freely attack. This works well with a Seadra on your bench, because it does have Swim Freely, but you also have this Hydrojet attack. This attack does 20 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon for each water energy attached to this Pokemon. So if you have something like the Finneon on your bench, you have a Seadra, maybe you have a Kingdra in play. The Kingdra we'll get to in a little bit. This is the Kingdra. It's interesting as well. But let's say if you have a Seadra, that Finneon, and as a finishing touch, you have one of these, Frostmoth. Now I know this Frostmoth is going to be phased out here soon, as it's a derotation card, but if you look at its ability Ice Dance, as often as you like during your turn, you may attach a water from your hand to one of your benched water Pokemon. So, working in conjunction with this, I think you could really start powering up that Seadra in order to do massive damage with its Hydrojet attack. Alrighty, let's go and see that Kingdra. The only thing that makes it really interesting is it has that attack that's only for 2 energies, so it's very interesting. And also on top of that, you have an ability that kind of does something like a Marnie. Seething Currents. Once during your turn, you may have either player shuffle their hand and put it to the bottom of their deck. If that player put any cards on the bottom of their deck in this way, they draw 4 cards. So it's kind of like a Marnie, in my opinion, or a Judge. It's more like a Judge, but I also see it as a Marnie. So, very interesting. The rest of the cards in here, the Gengar is something of note. So what you want to do with this Gengar, sorry about that, it's a little bit too zoomed in there. This Gengar involves you actually discarding it, because then you could use your ability Netherworld's Gate. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon is in your discard pile, you may put it onto your bench. If you do, put 3 damage counters onto the Pokemon. And then you also have Screaming Circle. Put 2 damage counters on your opponent's active Pokemon for each of your opponent's benched. So that might be interesting. Let's say if you're playing against someone that has a bunch of things on the bench, you could start just racking up damage counters on them, knocking out their active, which might be interesting. We'll have to get more copies of this card, probably a playset. All the Pokemon search items, most of them now that will be in rotation, involve discarding of cards from your hand. So maybe you could discard Gengar, you could discard Energy. A lot of fun things could happen. Maybe you could actually put this Gengar into the Solrock Lunatone. That might be interesting, just a plot twist there. Everything else of note has been already discussed, I think, verbatim in my other videos on Lost Origin. So, I think it's time to get to the new stuff. Alrighty, I'm going to move these over here. And move these as well. Alrighty, who's ready for the new stuff? Okay, there's some new stuff there. Alrighty. I got 12 packs again from PokeNerds, and they're doing this sale where it's 3 packs for $10. So it's a really good option to save some money on some packs, especially that they're $5 a pack now at most retail stores, except for Best Buy here in the US. Alright, so we have Oddish, not so much to talk about there, but we have this Lost City Stadium. Whenever a Pokemon is knocked out, put that Pokemon in the Lost Zone instead of the discard pile. So the Lost Zone, again, is from the Gen 4 era of cards when they did Soul Silver, Heart Gold, and Platinum. It's basically a second discard pile, but it's a permanent discard pile. So it's very tricky in play. It makes the match very tricky to deal with. Just a kind of a wild card in there if you have a second discard pile where you never can take anything out of it. So it adds another level of strategy to the game. We have a Swanna. Nothing too big here. Just a Swanna. Licky Licky. Nothing again. Just like that artwork though, but other than that, there's nothing to be said about that. Rockruff again. Same case. Love the artwork. Not much to say about it. Snover. Alright, so this one, same case, but this one kind of reminds me of the Detective Pikachu movie, the style of the artwork. Seal, I think we've covered that one. Hisuian Zora. Alright, so Hisuian Zoroark is a card I haven't pulled yet, but my neighbor has. I'm going to probably ask if I could borrow it or trade for it, and we could talk about it on stream. So I have actually 2 of these Hisuian Zora. I just need the Zoroark, and then I think we'll be able to use it in some decks, hopefully. It's a very interesting card. If only I pulled it through today's packs, but sadly I didn't. Right, Machop. Here's a Riley. Reveal the top 5 cards of your deck and have your opponent choose 2 of them. Discard the chosen cards and put the remaining cards in your hand. Interesting. Magearna. I think we've seen this card before. Can't remember if I pulled it during the pre-release. It's probably that, so we'll just go to the next one. Here's a Clefable. Actually, the Clefairy's quite interesting, so this one has all of your Pokemon take 30 less damage from attacks from your opponent's dragon Pokemon. So this is kind of reminiscent of the era when they still had fairies and dragons were weak to the fairies in the TCG. Of course, in Sword and Shield base set, they phased out the fairy type due to balancing issues. So kind of a reminder of the past here with that Spirit Charm. Here's Thornton. He's from Heart Gold and Soul Silver's Battle Frontier, if I remember correctly, and he owned a factory. If I remember from the lore in that game, that's what he did. Alright, we choose a basic Pokemon in your discard pile and switch it with one of your basic Pokemon in play. Any attached cards, any of those effects, yada yada yada, they'll remain on that new Pokemon. But it's interesting how you could swap things out with this card. I think that's pretty ingenuitive. We have Bronzong, and that gravitational drop sounds a little bit interesting. This attack does 40 more damage for each colorless in your opponent's active Pokemon's retreat cost. Very interesting. Alright, here's Colorus Experiment. Colorus, again, is kind of a member of Team Plasma in Pokemon Black 2 and White 2, but he's also in Alola forgot what he was doing in Alola, honestly, but he's also in the Sun and Moon games for some reason. It's a pretty cool guy, though. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck and put 3 of them into your hand. Put the other cards in the Lost Zone. Sometimes, in certain occasions, you do want cards in the Lost Zone, because there's actually a bunch of trainers and items that only work when you have cards in the Lost Zone, so it might not be a bad idea to put some cards in there from now and then. Just gonna scoop those up. Horsey, talked about that line already. Shuppet. Most of these are repeats. So you can see there's something shiny. Ducklet. And here's a full art of Aerodactyl V. Just an interesting collector card. I'm going to go and actually penny sleeve this. It's important to protect your cards as best as you can, especially the higher up ones. I recommend penny sleeves. There's also top loaders. Those could be for your more expensive cards, but you just put your holofoils in a penny sleeve and that should be good as well. There we are, all happy in a penny sleeve. We have Apom, Spinarak. Some of these we already talked about. Alright, so Roselia, this is actually a card I got knocked out by during the pre-release tournament. I was put to sleep, they switched out, and I kept getting nailed. They had the Glyce score from the set where it could paralyze you at the same time. Yeah, it's not fun when you're asleep and you're paralyzed in a match. It is not fun. It was interesting that that combo actually worked. I wasn't expecting it to, but oh well. Here's Machoke. This is clearly built for a pre-release tournament type deal because you can see low energy costs. If you're taking super effectiveness, that's going to be 100 for 2 energy. So yeah, this could probably been good in pre-release. Alright, here's our Clefairy. Look at all of them. They're so happy and cute. Alright, this one has an ability, Moon Watching Party. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon is in the active spot for each of your benched Clefairy, you may search your deck for a Psychic and attach it to that Clefairy. Then shuffle your deck. And then you have Wonderstorm. This attack does 20 damage for each Psychic attached to all of your Pokemon. So this might be actually good for the Solrock Lunatone. This could be good for its own deck. I see it being used with the Enamorous V, because they kind of have the same thing. In my opinion, Blossom Tail, do the Wonderstorm. Alright, here's a Mirage Gate, and to use the Mirage Gate, you actually need to have 7 or more cards in the Lost Zone. Search your deck for up to 2 basic energies of different types and attach them to your Pokemon in any way you like. Then shuffle your deck. So you could only use this when you have some cards in the Lost Zone, so that's why it's important sometimes to keep some cards there. Cascoon, not so much to talk about there. Except for Harden, during your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks. If that damage is 60 or less, that could help with the setup for something, so I guess there's that. Lickitung. Slugma. Oh, by the way, there's that new Pokemon cartoon thing that has the Slugma in it. I watched it when it came out originally in the Japanese language, but now they translate it into English. It's a really cute cartoon, very cute side episode or side quest kind of thing in the Pokemon anime. I really liked it. Cascoon, we talked about Cascoon already. Ambipom. This is not the famous Ambipom from that coin flip deck. No, this is the one from Lost Origin. But it could kind of do some coin flip stuff. As you can see, all you can grab, flip a coin until you get tails, search your deck for a number of cards up to the number of heads, and put them into your hand. So that might be interesting. You could use Blunder Policy, you could use Glimwood Tangle, get a ton of those heads, search for that many cards. Very interesting. A damage pump. Alright, so this is not a Lost Zone item. We could actually use this without any Pokemon in the Lost Zone if we want to. Move up to 2 damage counters from one of your Pokemon to your other Pokemon in any way you like. Horsey, we've already talked about that. Shuppet, we've already talked about that. All those already talked about. Ooh, there's a cast form again. This is my second cast form, and that calls for another sleeve. There we go, all happy. Porygon Z. Downgrading Beam. Alright, so I've been waiting for a de-evolution card for a long time. Looks like we finally got one in Porygon Z here. Devolve one of your opponent's evolved Pokemon by removing any number of evolution cards from it. Your opponent shuffles those cards into their deck. So this is our de-evolution ray, or de-evolution beam from earlier in the card games, like in Black and White, and I think even in X and Y they had something similar to that. But this is our first, like, de-evolution Pokemon. I think in the Sword and Shield era. I might be wrong on that, because I only remember stuff from, like, Battle Styles and up. I don't remember seeing a de-evolution mechanism in this era yet until I saw the Porygon Z. Maybe interesting to have around, you know. Tap on a double turbo and you should be good. Keep de-evolving them. Score those KOs. Alright. Seadra, we've talked about Seadra. I think we've talked about Seviper, but look at that artwork. It reminds me of, like, I don't know why, but it reminds me of, like, cave art, you know? I think it's because of the roughness of the materials and media that they used in it. Very interesting artwork. Rockruff, we've seen that Seal, we've seen that Hisuian Zora, we've seen we've seen those ones. Goomy, Haunch Crow. Alright, so this one was actually on the TCG player article, most sought after cards, or cards you need to pull, not because it's going to be valuable or anything, it's because if this was the reverse foil version and you have that dark symbol all over it, it just goes really well with the artwork, showing a spooky, I would say, October Halloween night in the background with all that mist and fog and mysteriousness. Speaking of Halloween, here's a ghost Pokemon. This is Lampent. Actually, there are lampposts around my subdivision that look exactly like this Pokemon. No kidding. They look like Lampent, except for the Lampent has an extra arm. Other than that, it's a Lampent without a face. There's tons of them around the neighborhood. Chandelure is also one of my favorites, but sadly I haven't pulled the Chandelure yet. Hopefully in the future we will. Alright, Rhydon, not much to talk about here. Thornton, we've talked about him. There's Porygon, cute little 3D duck that we've made in Adobe Photoshop or any of those programs. Branch calculation, look at the top 4 cards of either player's deck and put them back in any order. Interesting. There's Ducklet, Blipbug, Finneon, we've talked about it. I haven't seen that art before, other than today. Another Zorua, Komala. Alright, so Komala actually saved one of my friend's matches. He was using Komala and it got knocked out, but if you see its ability, this Pokemon is asleep and is knocked out by damage from an attack by your opponent's Pokemon. Your opponent can't take any prize cards for it, so it kind of actually saved him being kind of a one-off or a freebie, so you don't have to worry about it if you have a bunch of Komala that get knocked out. Oh well. You're asleep? Alright. There you go. Here's Thornton. Bronzong. We've talked about Bronzong. We've talked about Sudowoodo before as well. We even compared it to the Astral Radiant one. There's Ghastly. Looking very mischievous there, Ghastly. What are you up to? There's a Cascoon. Bronzor. I think the artworks get progressively better as the sets in an era increase. Like, right now, this is the second to last set in the Sword and Shield era, and I gotta say, some of the artworks in this are better than, like, some of the ones from Sun and Moon, and even in Sword and Shield as a whole, these are, I think, some of the best artworks I've ever seen on cards. Phantom. Here's our Hisuian Gujar V-Star. So actually, the Hisuian Gujar V is a pretty good card as well. This one has Rolling Iron. During your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon takes 80 less damage. And of course, Moisture Star. Ugh, that word moisture. I don't know why they put that in there. During your turn, you may heal all damage from this Pokemon. Pretty interesting. I really like just the texture overall. It really matches kind of the shell of Gujar, it being like soldered metal or hardened steel. Alright, let's put it into a sleeve. There we go, all happy, and Gujar's going to go up there. Here's a lady. Search your deck for up to 4 basic energy cards, reveal them and put them into your hand, then shuffle. So I guess it's a good setup card. Maybe you use this in a deck using the Seadra and the Finneon. Maybe the Ice Dance Frostmoth too. You get those waters. Put him in there. Play him. Bronzor. Basculin. Electric. Ad Hoc Shock. When you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn, you may flip a coin of heads. Your opponent is now paralyzed. This is Sliggoo, and that Rigify is kind of interesting because you take 50 less damage, so it's kind of a bulwark defender. Makahita we've talked about, Inkay we've talked about, Jinx we've also talked about, Lampent we talked about, there's Dottler. It has another one of those, takes 30 less damage from attacks. Inkay, this might be a new one, just really like the artwork. There's Porygon, Shellos, Dustox. Right, so we have something here. Deer Powder. Your opponent's active Pokemon's now confused and poisoned. During Pokemon checkup, put 8 damage counters on that Pokemon instead of 1. Mwahahahaha. We have something similar from Astral Radiance. Let me go and try and find one. I just can't remember where one of these cards would be at the moment, but it was that Quillfish, the Hisuian Quillfish's evolution, Hisuian Overquill. That thing has a similar attack where it's a free energy attack where you're doing 50 in between turns if you poison the opponent instead of 1. I mean, instead of 1 damage counter, which is 10 damage, of course. So this one looks like it's an upgrade, the Deer Powder. That sounds interesting. Let me stack these more neatly. There we go. Alright, Mean Fu. Oh, and we got a Roserade. Poisonous Whip, so we get poisoned, and Assassin's Rose. If your opponent's active Pokemon is affected by a special condition, this attack does 60 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon in addition. Interesting. She looks really happy in that photo, or I guess artwork of her. Pretty cute. Alright, Horsey. We're going to reverse thrust out of frame, because we've talked about Horsey already. Meditite, we've talked about Rhydon, we've talked about Thornton, we've talked about Seedot, we've talked about Landorus, we've talked about too. Paris. If we only had the Parasect, we could talk about you, but you're a little nasty little bug, aren't you? And Pokemon Legends Arceus. Everywhere you go, there's angry Paris chasing you. Alright, we've talked about Iskin. It's basically, you could draw more cards if you have the word Hisuian in the Pokemon's name, if your active Pokemon is a Hisuian Pokemon. That could be interesting. We have a Psychic type Inkay this time. Basculin, Phantom, Makuhita, Lampent. There's our other Enamorous V. I think I'm either going to use it in a deck or just... It's not going that high. Enamorous V right now on TCG Player, it's at $5. And once the set actually comes out, it's going to become like $1. So I think I'm just going to use these for decks right now. I'm not going to trade them in or anything. Alright, Ducklet. Another Electric. A Politoed. Okay, so this Politoed has an interesting attack called Lordly Song Leader. If Poliwag is on your bench, this attack does 60 more damage. Alright, so we're at 70 damage now. Oh wait, what's this? If Poliwhirl is on your bench, this attack does 90 more damage. We're at 160 damage now. But wait, there's more. If Poliwrath is on your bench, this attack, drum roll please, but you can already see it, so there we go. This card, or this attack, will do 120 more damage. So what are we at? Oh, so 70, then it went to 160. We're at 280 damage for just 2 energy if we get all the frogs on our bench. Very interesting. Extremely interesting. Alrighty. So here's one of our trainer gallery again. This is a Pikachu one. And Pikachu here is napping with Akari, one of my favorite characters from Pokemon Legends Arceus, and quite possibly to possibly be Dawn's ancestor too. Pika Dash. If this Pokemon has any energy attached, it has no retreat cost. And of course you also have Whimsy Tackle, but the artwork is so adorable. I really like the painterly quality of it. And also Akari is one of my favorite characters from the Pokemon Legends Arceus game, alongside Volo and Laventon. Alright, let me go and sleeve this, because this on TCG Player currently is $15. It's going to probably drop to like 6 once the set fully comes out, but let's just keep it in a sleeve just to make sure it's safe. Alright, we have Beautifly. So we actually got all of the, I think we're still actually missing Silcoon, if you could imagine that. Stoked Straw. Once during your turn you may draw cards until you have 6 cards in your hand, so it's kind of like Industrious Incisors. Just a more costly version of that attack. Let's go and sleeve this as well. Machoke we've already talked about. Here's Fantina. You could use this card only if you have 10 more Pokemon or cards in the Lost Zone. During your opponent's next turn, all your Pokemon take 120 less damage from attacks from your opponent's Pokemon V. Alright, so Fantina again, Ghost-type trainer. Let's go Ghost-types, it's almost Halloween. Let's go Ghost-type trainers. And so it looks like 120 less damage from Pokemon V. That sounds very interesting. Maybe we'll see this card in some play, hopefully, because Fantina is a pretty cool trainer, and this sounds like a pretty cool card, so if you put those two together, I think you get a pretty cool card overall. Maybe useful for decks as well. Minfu, Litwick. There's our Litwick. Look how cute he is. Don't go near the Litwick, though, because they drain your life force, so just from a distance, I guess you could admire how cute they are. Snover. Rhyhorn. Apom. Gift Energy. So, this is basically a lucky egg. You attach it to a Pokemon, it gets knocked out, you draw 7 cards in your hand. Until you have 7 cards in your hand, I should clarify. Here's a Poliwrath. So we need Poliwrath, Poliwhirl, Poliwag, and that Politoed, and we're able to do bonkers damage for just 2 energy. There's a Blipbug, Finneon, Spinarak, Silcoon. There's our Silcoon. Alright, so we do actually have all of them. Lady, and Lost Vacuum. This is new. Oh, look at that. I love that detail inside the actual sucking thing. The vacuum there. It looks like a lightning storm. It looks like a Metallica cover, like an album cover of theirs, you know. You could use this card only if you put another card from your hand in the Lost Zone. Choose a Pokemon tool attached to any Pokemon or any stadium in play, and put that thing into the Lost Zone. Wahahahahaha. Very interesting. Maybe I get more copies of this, maybe a playset, use it in some decks. Alright, now for the big finish. Top loader cards. Alright, Pikachu VMAX. Secret, rare, trainer gallery, all gold, all sparkly. So much Pika in this card. This was from a reverse holofoil slot, so it doesn't take up your holofoil slot or your rare slot in a pack. This came from the reverse slot from the pack. So you could probably still get this card if you're lucky enough. If you have a white code card, you don't need a black code card for this one. You could even get it in a white code card if you're lucky enough. So yeah, Pikachu VMAX is the Chonkachu, which is famous, you know, being chunky and all that. It was actually printed in Vivid Voltage, if I remember correctly, and there's a rainbow one in there, a secret rare. That one is, oh my gosh, that one's really expensive. This one is being sold on Mercari for like 120-ish bucks, or somewhere else it's selling for 77. I am totally going to trade this in for something. Maybe a booster box. Hopefully we get it again. Who knows? So this one's actually going to my trade pile, or trade in or sell pile. I really do want to keep it though, but I wanted to have the experience again of opening a booster box, so I decided, you know what, this set, this Lost Origin, it's going to become Found Origin. I'm going to buy a booster box by trading in some of the cards I pull from the initial pack opening, so here we are, we have 3 cards to trade in. Hopefully we'll get a booster box soon. So there's Pikachu VMAX. Right, next one, Radiant Steelix. Alright, so when this was first revealed in the Japanese set, people were going bonkers because of its attacks. You have Energy Stream, so 2 metal energy from your discard to this Pokemon, and then you have Destructive Finish. So this is really a trump card, or last resort, Hail Mary pass, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, discard cards from the top of your deck until only 1 card remains. This attack does 30 more damage for each energy card you discarded in this way. You could literally just put this down at the end, knock off something really crazy, boom, you could probably win a game using this card. It's going for 6 right now on TCG Player. I forgot to mention the Pikachu is going for about 40 bucks on TCG Player. Of course, that's going to drop to like, I don't know, maybe 30, but it's going to probably climb after that. I'm not going to wait on the climb. Pack up to the top. I am going to trade it in as early as I can. Steelix, though, another story. It's $6 right now, probably gonna drop to 2. I mean, Radiant Greninja is right now at $3. It used to be like $5 or $10, so I'm just going to buy this one back, maybe, once I trade it in. I love that design on it, though. Look at it, has all those facets on it, on its surface, and it's like made out of gold. It's like gold plated. I love that. Man, beautiful. Alright. Here's a Charizard. So, yep, I pulled another Charizard unexpectedly. I keep doing that. I don't like being Leonhardt and yelling, "Oh my gosh, a Charizard!" I don't like doing that at all. It's too much. What are you doing when you're doing that? It's like, it's just a pack of Pokemon cards. Just open it. You could be excited, but you don't have to be jingling keys in front of your audience all the time. It's bad, Leonhardt. It's really, you too, Logan Paul. Just open the packs and enjoy the franchise, please. You don't need to keep jingling keys in front of all of us. Alright, so this is, of course, Charizard and Leon from Pokemon Sword and Shield, the champion with the Charizard. Looks like here, I don't know what they're doing. Are they in a cafe? I can't even tell. Maybe they're in an apartment somewhere. Apartments.com, the best place to find a place. One of these days, I bet Jeff Goldblum is going to join one of my streams, so I don't know, I'll just keep referencing Apartments.com every time there's an art of a Pokemon that it looks like it's in an apartment setting. And hopefully one of these days Jeff Goldblum will be on one of my streams in some capacity. Alright, so Charizard. This is the reprint of a Vivid Voltage Charizard, but this one has Leon, and it's part of the trainer gallery. Its number is TG03, TG30, and again, the trainer gallery cards actually take up the reverse holo slot, so you don't have to worry about not getting something crazy afterwards. You can still get something good afterwards because you don't have your rare slot taken up yet. Like this could have been in a pack where, let's say, our Enamorous V, for example. Aerodactyl. Here. We have an Aerodactyl. Let's say this is our pack, right? So we could literally go from Charizard and then, oh wow, we got a Charizard, all that stuff. Let's actually do it like a Pokemon opening person, one of those larger ones. Oh my gosh, guys, look at that, we got a Charizard, and then they could go like this, and it's a full art Aerodactyl. So the trainer galleries, even the Radiant Pokemon in this set, will take up the reverse foil slot. They won't take up your rare slot when you're opening packs. So you could still get like 2 hits in a pack and stuff like that. So very interesting. Yeah, pull the Charizard. That's all there is to it. It's just luck. Don't worry. I know all of you will pull a Charizard someday, and I hope for the best of that, and hope it's a very special moment whenever you do. Or any Pokemon, actually. Any Pokemon that you like. It could be even a Wurmple, it could be Bidoof, any of those. hope that to all of you when you're opening packs and stuff, you just make those memories. You know, you finally got one of the Pokemon you've always been looking for. I love that feeling. It really puts you into the mindset of a collector. It really puts you into the mindset of a Pokemon trainer, you know. Really love those moments. Hopefully, many more of those great moments and memories will come to all of you. So yeah, Charizard. TCG says $40. It's probably gonna drop, or it's gonna slow increase. Maybe like 2 months from now, it's gonna go up to like 80. And I made a mistake by trading them in for 85, $90. All three of the ones I'm going to trade in. I don't know how much I'm going to do it. Maybe a little bit less, or a little bit more. But that's still on the table. I did not know. Yeah, so pretty cool. Hopefully I pull a second one after I trade this one in. I'm gonna miss it. And I think that was all the cards. So again, here's our big hitters. Let me find them. Top loaders galore. Let me center him. Alrighty, I think that's going to be it for this stream. Let me fix the Charizard. Let me put... There we go. Alright, I think that's going to be it for this stream. I hope everyone's pulls from Lost Origins will be really good for you. Please reach out if you get anything interesting or rare. I really love to hear how your pulls are going. Please just send a chat or a comment to one of my social medias. You can find me on Instagram at VOLTZ_PKMN, Volts Pokemon. You can find me on Twitter at OneWhoGetsBread. You could go on YouTube, find me at the same channel name as this you're watching right now on Twitch. Also, we'll have some more of my opening videos on there shortly. They're all going to be YouTube shorts, though. And it's going to be a 12-part series of Lost Origin, because that's how many packs I opened today. 12 packs. Alright, thank you so much, everyone, for watching, whether you're tuning in now, or you're going to be tuning in later when this becomes a VOD. Either way, I really appreciate you joining me and watching my content and just like interacting with it and all of this. I really enjoy it. Thank you so much. I'm really grateful that I have such a wonderful audience like you guys. Alrighty, please leave a follow if you're interested in doing any of that stuff. Thank you so much for every ounce of support all of you have been giving. More content will be coming your way, hopefully. Maybe if I get a booster box, I'll open it on Twitch, you know, that kind of stuff. But yeah, hope everyone's Labor Day has been going well. Happy Labor Day to all of you again, and I think that's going to be the end of the stream. Thank you so much again. Please do something nice for someone. Get vaccinated. And have a good rest of the week. I'll see you guys again soon, hopefully. I love you all, and have a good evening. Thank you, everyone.